Look, I am all for people taking Labor Day off. It's a holiday, but not baseball teams.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast where we talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever they're calling it these days, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. But the best way to get hold of me is right here on the YouTube page. Leave a comment and make sure wherever you're posting your comments, put that hashtag everyday Sully on there. That way we get to find your comments and we get to read them, especially when we do things like, the trivia question. Today's episode is brought to you by good friends over at FanDuel. Football season is upon us. We're going to talk about that later in the show, but visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Is that grammatically correct? Your futures bets now. I know very little about gambling. That's why they're sponsoring my show today. Let's go through the trivia question. The trivia question was, what was it again? Oh, yeah. What player has reached base the most in their career without winning their league's MVP? By the way, times on bases, I think, I've talked about this before. I think it is the most underappreciated stat. It's an old-fashioned stat, but it's one that I love because it's straightforward. The number of times you've been on base. I think it's a great stat. And I think that when you take a look at the players who have been the leaders of the all-time times on base, it's a pretty good cross-section of great hitters in our history. Now, the person with the most times on base is Pete Rose with 5,929. No one has ever reached base 6,000 times. And Jackson Van Hooser, guess that. Pete Rose has had the most times on base for someone who has never won their league's MVP. And there you go, Jackson. You got it wrong. Pete Rose was the National League MVP in 1973. This has not been your week, Jackson. I love that you're always asking the question. I can tell you're not looking them up because you've been getting them wrong. But who did get it right? It was Big John 08865. Guess Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, who is number 13 on the list, never won the American League MVP. There's that East Coast bias. The year he probably should have won it, he lost to Justin Morneau, who wasn't even the most valuable player on his own team. But there you go. He's 13th. By the way, here are the top 20 in terms of players who reach base. Number one, you got Pete Rose. Number two, you got Barry Bonds. And by the way, some of these players won the MVP before it was the Baseball Writers Association Award, but there was always an MVP that was given out. So that's why Ty Cobb is on there. He won the league's MVP. Ricky Henderson is number 4. Carl Yastrzemski is number 5. If you're going to say the four most dynamic offensive players of all time, if you want to put Rose, Bonds, Cobb, and Henderson, you're probably not going to get a lot of arguments there. Yastrzemski is number 5. Musial is number 6. Henry Aaron is 7. Tris Speaker is 8. Babe Ruth, who probably would have been higher up there if he didn't start his career as a pitcher, is 9. The great underrated Eddie Collins is 10. Albert Pujols, 11. Willie Mays, 12. Jeter, 13. Ted Williams is only this low because he lost years to the war. Mel Ott, 15. A-Rod, 16. Eddie Murray, 17. Frank Robinson, 18. Honus Wagner, 19. And Miguel Cabrera, believe it or not, is number 20. So if you're going to list, if you're listing all-time great players, and you say, well, one of these players is the best offensive player of all time, Rose, Bonds, Cobb, Henderson, Yastrzemski, Musial, Aaron, Speaker, Ruth, Collins, Pujols, Mays, Jeter, Williams, Ott, A-Rod, Eddie Murray, Frank Robinson, Wagner, and Miguel Cabrera. Chances are your answer to who's the greatest offensive player of all time is, I just said their name. I'm going to go out on a limb there. So there you go. The answer is Derek Jeter. Never won the MVP. I wonder, I'm not a big guy on WAR because, what is it good for? But he did lead the league in WAR in 1999. the year that Ivan Rodriguez won the MVP. I thought Pedro Martinez should have won, but if you love WAR, it should have been Derek Jeter, who led the league in hits. I'm never quite sure how WAR works. That's how there is. But there you go. And good job there, Big John 08865. You never take a day off, and I appreciate that. Now, some teams are taking a day off, and I think we need to talk about that right now. Folks, it's Labor Day. It's the last big holiday of the summer. Now, I'm a school teacher, and for reasons that I don't understand, we start the school year in the middle of August. That should be illegal. There should be a constitutional amendment against that. A lot of people are starting the school year after Labor Day the way it's supposed to be. But really, psychologically, I know in terms of the rotation of the earth and the moon and the sun and everything, summer officially ends in September 21st. But emotionally, summer begins on Memorial Day and ends on Labor Day. And Labor Day is a day off for a lot of people. It's a day off of my school. A lot of people have Labor Day off. And it should be a huge baseball day. It should be a really big day when you have the people have the day off to go to the ball game. It's the end of the summer psychologically. And I talked about this on Memorial Day. I talked about this on the 4th of July. I may be a broken record right here, but what the hell are we doing? Today is September 1st, 2025, the last gasp of summer. The Cardinals are not playing. Now, I know attendance is down in St. Louis, but shouldn't that be, if you're a Cardinal fan, something you want to do on Labor Day is to either go to the game or watch the game or listen to the game over the barbecue? The Pirates are not playing. Traditional team. There's some exciting players on there. They're a Mickey Mouse organization, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on a later show. Kansas City's not playing. The Royals are not playing. I'm going to say something right here and now. The last two teams I'm going to mention, it's inexcusable. The Yankees and the Dodgers are not playing on Labor Day. What the hell are we doing? The two most popular teams in baseball. Yeah, look at, I know small market, big market. I'm not supposed to acknowledge things. I live in Los Angeles County. Dodger Stadium is a quick drive from my house. Okay? The Dodgers draw unbelievably well here. Their popularity is through the roof. They have the biggest star in baseball. Okay? And I'm going to go out on a limb here. The New York Yankees have a decent sized fan base. In fact, they have two gigantic fan bases, the people who love the Yankees and the people who hate the Yankees. And if the Yankees win, their fans go crazy. And if the Yankees lose, the people who hate them go crazy. And both of those teams are taking a rest today? Someone explain to me what should be one of the biggest days of the year, one of the absolute can't miss days of baseball of the year. You're going to sit your two most popular teams. Really? That seems like smart business to you? So really? Give them all a day off on Tuesday. Hell, teams should be playing double headers on Labor Day. But if you're not going to do that, yeah, give the whole league the day off on Tuesday. Or have that be a wiggle room to make up for a rain out from earlier in the year. But how the hell are you? And I'm swearing a little more than, but I'm trying to avoid saying the big one. But the big one may have to be said. What the flounder is going on here? The Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cardinals and the Royals and the Pirates are taking a nap today? You don't have every team playing on a holiday in the summer, the final holiday of the summer. It makes zero sense. It's fractally stupid. I know I've said this before, but it's the whole thing is stupid. And when you break it down, it's made of tiny, stupider things. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we had someone in charge of baseball? Would it be fabulous if someone was actually, I don't know, using a freaking brain? Now, let me tell you, when I become the commissioner, and once again, vote for Sully, baseball commissioner for a change, get behind me. I'm going to start campaigning soon. There's no excuse to not schedule all 30 damn teams. Look at me swearing. I'm swearing like a sailor. I'm swearing like a mariner. How about that? Fact of the matter is, if you can't look up and say, hey, this is probably going to be a big day to have baseball, then I don't even know what we're doing anymore. I don't know what you're doing. And if you're going to call up, if you're going to, do you what? I was going to say there's no valid reason, but do you know what? I'm curious. Give me a reason. Give me a reason why this is not happening, because quite frankly, right now, it looks beyond incompetent. All right, let's talk about our friends over at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get on the action. Just pick more than or less than 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. It's quick, easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. If you're looking at projections like, I don't know, Mahomes is going to get fewer than 270 passing yards, or Barkley is going to make more than or less than 1 rushing touchdown, do you know what? It's fabulous. The best part, if one of your picks misses, Prize Picks invented the flex play so you can still double your money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play the first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after you make your first $5 play. Prize Picks, do you know what it is? It is good to be right. Hey, the NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Now, right now, new customers can bet just $5 if your first bet wins, and you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to make a little more energy in your game on Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Think about the 2 ads I just read. I read FanDuel, I read Prize Picks. And I guarantee you, some of you may not know the difference between a fantasy app and a betting app. Maybe I'm one of them. But the fact of the matter is, about 13 years ago, before I was involved at all in Locked On MLB, I made a video. I used to do the Sully Baseball podcast. I used to make Sully Baseball videos. Check those out. And I did a video on September 1st, 2011, where I made the pitch to end the season on Labor Day. That was 13 years ago. 14 years ago, actually. 14. I'm good at math. 14 years ago, I said the season should end on Labor Day. And I'm going to double down on that. Now, you're not going to find a bigger baseball fan than me. You're not going to find someone who thinks about baseball. You may find someone who's as big as me, but you're not going to find a bigger one who's thinking about baseball all year long, thinking about it during the Super Bowl, thinking about it during the Oscars, thinking about it while I'm asleep, thinking about it when I'm awake, thinking about when I should be doing work. I eat, breathe, and other things with baseball. I love it. But if we're going to expand the leagues and expand the playoffs, then maybe cutting back a little on the regular season may not be the dumbest thing in the world to do. Especially as we're seeing that pitchers are, dropping like flies. I'm not saying make it a 100-game season, but do we maybe scale it back to 145 games? It used to be 154. The great thing about when you had a relatively small pool in a random playoff chase is the 162-game gauntlet basically weeded out the mediocre teams, and you got a sense that the best of the best were going to be in there. But since we've been expanding it, and I have no problem with playoff expansion, you got to maybe take a look at, let's shorten back the season. But there's another reason why. And it's less to do with injuries and more to do with a simple fact that baseball has to look in the mirror and say that in terms of popularity and in terms of eyeballs, it's tough to compete with football. Not me. I don't watch football. I mean, I don't dislike football. You put $10 million in front of me right now and say, name one college football player, keep your money. I can't do it. And it's because the baseball is my thing. But for most people, when football shows up in September, guess what? That dominates the conversation. The point I made back in 2011 was that August is kind of a dead month sports-wise. Imagine if that was the pennant race. That was the deciding who gets into the playoffs. And by Labor Day, we decide it, and we start the baseball playoffs in September. And you have the great chases going on when most people have their kids out of school. Some people take some time off. It's still summertime. It still feels like baseball. And those great chases are happening in August. You maybe start the season in mid-March, and you emphasize having teams in warm weather cities or cities with domes for the first couple of weeks. But if you're going to have the expanded playoffs, then maybe you have a 140 game season. Now you say, well, teams won't accept losing, 10 games at the gate or whatnot. I said, well, maybe there'll be a bigger pie for the playoffs because you are not going to be, there is a giant delta of interest that happens in September. I've witnessed it in multiple markets. Baseball is a local sport. Interest in baseball is through the roof when the team is good. And when the local team isn't good, nobody seems to care. And when football shows up, it dominates everything. Hell, I just read 2 ads just assuming we all have fantasy football teams and are betting on football. And that's the fact. Jack Howell, former Cardinals. Oh, no, yeah, did he play for the Cardinals? I know he played for the Angels. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Imagine having the pennant races in August and you play the playoffs in September. The local interest in the playoffs is going to be through the roof. And for most people, they've moved on. But now in September, all attention seems to be on baseball unless the local team is in it. If the local team's not in it, good luck starting a baseball conversation with someone. They have a whole month, which is, by the way, September is the best month of baseball because it's down the stretch they come. And during that period of time, a lot of people tune out. It's like watching the movie Rocky, and the minute he starts to fight Apollo Creed, it's like, yeah, I get the idea, and you turn it off. You wouldn't be competing with regular season football and regular season baseball and then try to drum up the interest again in October and then having it go into November. You have the playoffs in September when it still feels like summer, or at least some approximation of summer, and you have the World Series in early October. I think the ratings would be better. I think the interest would be more. I think the players would be healthier and fresher. And since the playoffs are expanded, the need to have the 162 game gauntlet is not as strong. This is not me saying I want fewer games because I don't like it. I think it's because it'll get more people interested in the game. Now, I'm being maybe a little hypocritical here because I've always said I don't care about TV ratings. In a way, I don't. I'm not a sales rep for Tide. I'm not selling ad space, but I would like to have the most eyeballs so we have the most interest and grow the game a little bit. And baseball, sitting their most popular teams on Labor Day, sometimes are, I don't know, kind of sort of dumb in terms of growing the game. Well, why don't you stop competing with the biggest sport of them all in terms of viewership and interest, and that's American football, at least in the United States. Not for me, but for most people. If I had a pretty good movie that I wanted to release, I said, okay, when am I going to release it? Oh, that same day they were releasing a Spider-Man movie or an Avengers film or Barbie 2 or anything directed by Christopher Nolan. Do you know what? I would open it on a different weekend. And you're going to be competing with the opening of football with down the stretch they come with baseball. And I've always thought that was suicide. I thought it was suicide back in 2011. I think it more now since they've expanded the playoffs to a wild card round. It makes sense to me. It may not to you, it may sound weird, but I think if you cut back the season to 145 games, start the season in mid-March with an emphasis on teams that have domes and warm weather sites, play a doubleheader here or there on the big holidays, you could still wind up with a 145 game season, which is what we had in 1995. I think it was 100, it was either 145 or 144 the year after the strike and the lockout, which felt like a real season. And it also may preserve some of those big records. It's going to be tough to get 700 home runs, but fine, we get to see it. And you have August all to yourself. And you're playing the World Series not in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. Baseball is a summer sport. It should be played in the freaking summer. And when interest seems to be waning for it, then you play to your strengths. August is right there. That could be the month of baseball playoffs or the baseball pennant chase and everything like that. And then when most people turn away in September anyway. So don't have that be a handicap for you. Local interest in baseball playoffs is always through the roof, no matter what city you're talking about. It's always exciting. And for everyone else, they kind of tune out. So you can scream at the tides, or you can say, hey, maybe we can adjust. If you're going to adjust with realignment and you're going to adjust with expanded playoffs, then let's adjust the whole way. And by the way, speaking of football taking over everything, we're going to be talking about the fact that the Locked On is going to be doing a college football kickoff show. And it's going to be great. It's the ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 is going to lead a conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On Local Experts, a college football preview. Only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Friday kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. And I am thrilled that this is happening. It's great for the entire network. Now, let me just also say very quick. Oh, I was going to say very quickly, we are doing the survey. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey team to learn more about our listeners and make our favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Also, you can find the link in the show notes. So thanks so much for helping us out. All right, let's hear from our good friends over at Upside. Hey, are you still paying full price for gas? Come on, stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with a free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. And use my personal limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just buying gas you already needed. At first, you know what? I said, hey, that's too good to be true. I wasn't born yesterday, but you know what? It's totally legit. I was born in Connecticut, but not yesterday. Real people are getting paid to just make their daily commutes. In LA County, you know what that means. And you can too. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers may vary based on user and location. Just go to upside.com and you'll get the terms and conditions. I don't know if you saw it. I spat. I felt like Sylvester for a second there. Wow. All right. Hey, that's just my thoughts on Labor Day. And I've had these thoughts for years, and they're standing by me. Let's quickly go over who owned baseball on the last day of August. Hey, the Red Sox finally got their big hit. It was from Jared Duran, of all people, hit an inside the park 3-run home run. and the Red Sox won 5-2 over the Pirates. I really thought the Pirates were about to sweep the Red Sox. You just can't count on, well, they're bad, so we're going to beat them. The Pirates showed up. They won the Paul Skeens game. They won the middle game. The Red Sox avoided a sweep. By the way, good for the White Sox for showing up and avoiding a sweep against the Yankees. The Yankees did win that series. Rafael Devers went 3 for 5 with a home run. Why can't the Red Sox get players like him? San Francisco, clobbered Baltimore 13-2. Jose Soriano showed up. He's had a good year for the Angels. He's allowed 1 hit, struck out 8 in 7 innings. Angels blanked the Astros 3-0. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he got 10 Arizona strikeouts over 7 innings and set up the Dodgers. 5-4 walk-off win. Will Smith got the walk-off home run in that. Half wobs to Jesus Luzardo, who pitched a terrific game on Sunday Night Baseball, but the Phillies bullpen let him down, and the Braves won that one 3-1. Aaron Judge, who apparently I'm not supposed to say is an MVP candidate, got 3 hits, including a home run, but the Yankees came up short against the White Sox, as I mentioned before. Jackson Chourio got 4 hits, but the Brewers were doubled up by the Blue Jays 8-4. But the fact that Chourio is hitting again should make Brewers fans feel great. And despite the fact that the Astros lost, Hunter Brown pitched great. He allowed 1 run over 6 innings, and the Astros are going to remain dangerous. But you take a look, as we're going into Labor Day, and you're seeing that there's no real movement on the teams that are currently playoff teams. But you see that right now the Jays have allowed the Red Sox and Yankees to sneak back in. They're both, Yankees are 3 back. The Red Sox are 3.5 back. The Tigers have a 9.5 game lead on the Royals. Come on, we know what's going there. But the Mariners are only 2 back of the Astros for the Western lead. And look out. Look who's still hanging around. I talked about Bruce Bochy the other day. Look who's hanging around. Just 3 games back of the loss column of a playoff spot are the Texas Rangers. The no team is making a run for one of the wild card spots in the National League. I'd be stunned if there's any change in the 6 teams that are there right now. The Brewers, the Phillies, the Dodgers, Cubs, Padres, and the Mets. And right now, the Brewers have a 5-game lead in the loss column over Philadelphia for the best record in the National League. And right now, as of this recording, the Tigers have the best record in the American League. So if the best records meet in the World Series, it doesn't often happen, but it will be Tigers versus the Brewers. And by the way, every team I just mentioned right now has a positive run differential, which is going to bring us to today's trivia question. What 2 teams? Oh, there's a typo in here. I'm just going to read it anyway. What 2 teams went to the World Series despite having a negative run differential for the season? I'll fix I had a typo in there. 2 teams in baseball history went to the World Series despite having a negative run differential for the regular season. Say that 3 times fast. That's the trivia question. Put it down right below and follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, whatever they're calling it these days, and on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram, talking about Labor Day, and teams should not take the day off. But maybe that should be the end of baseball for the regular season, because that's the end of the summer. And looking who owned baseball for the day. This has been Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.